Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chapter 7 of December Secrets. It was hard to think of things to give Jill Simon. Last night, Emily had looked through her closet. She had pulled out a pile of stuff, shells from the beach last summer, her old first grade notebook. At last, she had found something, a pencil. It was a special pencil, green. Her Aunt Helen had brought it back from California. It had a big, fat, almost new eraser. It was long and very skinny. Maybe it would make Jill think about being skinny. Maybe it would make Jill think about a diet. When Emily got to the classroom, she looked at the pencil again. Jill would love it. But she might not think about being skinny when she looked at it. Miss Rooney clapped her hands. Today, we're going to talk about Christmas. Emily loved to talk about Christmas. She closed her eyes for a minute. She could see the Christmas tree in her living room. She could see presents. She looked at the pencil again. Maybe she should write a little note with it. A note to remind Jill about a diet. Who would like to tell us about Christmas? Miss Rooney asked. Quickly, Emily raised her hand. Don Bosco's hand shot up in the air, too. Miss Rooney called on Emily. Christmas, said Emily slowly. It's surprises and a tree. It's getting lots of presents. Dawn waved her hand around. It's not just getting presents, she said. It's giving presents. That's the important thing. That's what my mother said, Matthew told the class. Emily made a face at Dawn. She wanted to say, I was going to tell about the giving part next. She wished she had thought of it. But Miss Rooney was talking now. Who can tell us more? She asked. Beast stood up. It's a birthday, a special birthday. It's the day Jesus Christ was born. Exactly right, said Miss Rooney. Exactly right, thought Emily. She felt cross with herself. Too bad she hadn't thought about saying that. She sighed. She looked at the pencil for Jill again. Maybe she would write a poem to go with Jill Simon's secret December present. What went with Skinny? Minnie, Ginny, Linny. Oh, you won't look tinny when you're skinny. No. How about something with diet? Fiat, Liat. She thought for a minute. How about a skinny dress your mother will buy it if you go on a diet? That was a little better, but not perfect. She looked out the window. The snow had stopped. How about try a diet? Yes, that sounded good. She said it in her head a couple of times. Try a diet. Try a diet. Sherry Dent turned around. Are you talking to yourself? She whispered. Emily shook her head. Then she took out her notebook. She tore out a piece of paper. Miss Rooney stopped talking about Christmas. Who is making that ripping noise? She asked. Emily ducked down. Yes, said Miss Rooney after a minute. We are very lucky. Mr. Mancina, the principal, is giving us a present, our own class Christmas tree. Everybody clapped. Emily clapped too. Then she frowned. Try a diet was no good. It would hurt Jill's feelings. She might cry for an hour. No, she peeked at Jill to be sure she wasn't looking at her. Then she wrote surprise on the piece of paper. She wrote it with the long, skinny green pencil. We're going to make Christmas ornaments this week, said Miss Rooney, for the tree. Everyone smiled. Beast was smiling the hardest. Emily looked over at him. Beast loved to draw. He'd make a great ornament. She reached into her desk for Uni, her rubber unicorn. She pulled him out. He was wrapped up in paper. Emily pulled the paper off. Underneath, he had a piece of red, shiny material covering him. A little card said, "A blanket for Uni." Next to her, Don Bosco was playing with a piece of gum. She saw Emily looking at her. She pulled the gum into a long string. Emily smiled. Dawn blinked. Then she smiled back. Emily gave Uni a pat. She could feel his new red cover. It felt smooth, beautiful. She was sorry she hadn't let Dawn ahead of her on the fire truck line. She'd have to make it up to Dawn. She waited until everyone lined up for lunch. Quickly, she put the pencil on Jill's desk. Then she marched out the door.